surprised the FBI wasn't called in earlier. But the bottom line is the FBI was called in. I literally saw a news conference where Nano said, hey, listen, when it comes to these ransom notes and everything, this kidnapping, the FBI is in charge. That's what he said in that news conference. And I'll find that clip. See the FBI, talk to the FBI. But venue, legal venue lies within the sheriff's department, period, end of story. There is zero federal nexus here that has been established. So because of that, you're not going to have the legal right of the Bureau to go in. They are there strictly at the behest and with the concurrence of Sheriff Nanos. If he says, which we saw in Delphi, I believe, pack up and leave, we don't need you anymore, we're going to handle this on our own, he has that power. I just want everybody to realize that he has that power. So he has the power, but he understands that the FBI has the resources and the expertise. So hopefully whatever may be brewing or that we're hearing about, I really think it's probably a few things and it's being completely blown out of proportion. That's what I think. That's my take. Another thing that has supposedly been leaked by somebody in law enforcement is the event times. That was reported by TMZ that supposedly he was on the stoop at, I think it was 2:12 a.m. Yet we know and I'm going to give you the exact time, at 1:47 a.m., that Nest camera was disabled by law enforcement. Look, I'm going to go with what law enforcement says when they're that specific to give these times. I think that Nest camera was disabled at 1:47 a.m. That means that guy was on the porch at 1:47 a.m. And that's why those people that were trying to say and blow out of proportion this tape from 5 miles away, like, are you seriously going to be vaping, slugging around backpacks and trying to open a fence when you're getting ready to commit one of the biggest kidnappings in certainly a decade that anybody at least knows about? Come on. The bottom line is I just reemphasize that because I think we all have to be careful not to blow out of proportion some of this information and some of these leads that these armchair quarterback sleuths behind the scenes are putting out there for clicks and views. I believe that's what that was all about. I really, truly believe that. And then it spun out of control when TMZ got a hold of it because, again, they're saying they have a source that says that footage is at 2:12. I just don't believe that. I'm not saying I don't believe that they weren't told that. I don't believe that. I think it's 1:47. So I think the timeline we have, at least regarding two things, that the Nest camera was disabled in conjunction with the pacemaker disconnecting from the Apple Watch that was on her nightstand. I think those are hard and fast times we can use. Do I think other people might have been on property and seen on camera, or perhaps even an animal? We've seen those javelin pigs that are in that area. Yes, it's possible. They talked about another person possibly being on camera. Is that roof camera? And by the way, that roof camera, I think, might possibly hold a lot of answers as to the vehicles. There's also license plate reader information from other nearby stores. We already know the Circle K footage exists. Listen, there is so much out there that the FBI and local law enforcement have behind the scenes. But what I hate to see are leaks. I really do. And I know I'm in the media, but I hate to see leaks because at my core is being an agent and caring about Nancy being found and caring about this family having answers. That is what is at the crux of this case. And no FBI agent or law enforcement officer worth their salt and worth their oath should be leaking information because it could compromise the investigation. Now, having said that, listen, the media has a job to do. That's their job, is to probe and to interview and to get information and to have sources and to have those people tell them. So I get it. I get it. They are doing their job.
Whoa. What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just...
Are people, if this is true, leaking information about times, about other evidence, about gloves? They leaked information about whether the family had hired a PI or didn't hire a PI. I mean, who is talking like this from a law enforcement aspect? I tell you, there's 2 cases, and I posted them. FBI agents lose their job for doing that. Period. It's over. And not only agents, support staff, anybody behind the scenes. If you report information to TMZ or anything else and it goes back to you, you're done. You're done. All those years of training, the salary, which by the way, somebody reported that the salary was in the mid 6 figures. No. The salary for an FBI agent right now, middle range, is about $80,000. That's what an FBI agent is making. And when you look at the hours they work, it's unbelievable. I actually figured it out when I retired. I looked at how much I had made on average, right? The most I ever made as an FBI agent was certainly when I was on the FBI director's detail, because you get real overtime. So when I worked 80 hours, I got 40 hours of overtime. But when you're in the field, you don't get that. You work 80 hours, you are on salary and what they call AUO, which is a 10% overtime. And that's it. You're capped right there, 10%. So if I work, just say I work 40 extra hours, I'm only get paid for 10% of that. And that's how it works. And that's fine. No one gets into the FBI for money. No one. You're going to be middle class. You're going to have, you're going to be fine. You're not poor, but you're just middle. So these police officers are getting paid probably 30 to 40,000. People who get into law enforcement and do public service do not get in it for the money. So why would people behind the scenes or in law enforcement be providing money to the press? It's only, in my opinion, because of money. The press must be offering some sort of money stipend. I mean, TMZ, I'm sure, has very deep pockets. The bottom line is, media, do your job. You have to put those carrots out there and try to get information, because that's your job. Law enforcement, it's not your job to be a rat and rat out information that could compromise an investigation. So that's where I stand on that. I was really on my soapbox yesterday, and everybody was like, Jen, what are you talking about? What was leaked? Well, I've just given you 5. If you are reading a news report and it says source information, which is about everything we're seeing right now, because law enforcement isn't saying much, just take that for what it's worth. And remember, if that's true, that means somebody that's pretty unscrupulous is given that information. So is it even trustworthy? I did, though, put out what Nanos just said. I think it was this morning. It might have been last night, about the infighting. I posted that on my Twitter because I want you to see what at least we're able to document. Some people have seen sort of Nanos. I mean, I've seen it myself. I know sometimes he says kind of one thing and then he kind of goes back and says a little something else. Look, they are not trained professionals. You remember this happened in Idaho, a lot of mixed messaging early on. Finally, they hired a professional. They got a grant and they finally hired a professional to send out the messaging. The FBI has professionals